Hey, Dr. Rowe, hope you're well. I just wanted to show you this image. What do you think of that? Oh, I've gone fuzzy. Yep, the fuzzy fear. It's kicking in. There it is. So look, I want to talk about this. I've been careful about what I've said in social media about COVID and my views on it. And I have pretty strong views, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm really here to talk about what concerns me more is where people's mindset has got to now as a result of this last year of living with COVID. And by the way, that is the theme of our latest podcast, the Seekardo Podcast. We just recorded it last week with an amazing lady that used to be on Channel 4. I've known her for many years. I think she's been voted in the top 150, 200 doctors in the country, MDs in the country. She's a phenomenal woman. And we've been trying to get her onto the podcast for a long time. And we managed to pin it down literally last week. So we had a cracking podcast. I think it's coming out next week. So look out for that one. If you're not subscribed, you really need to get subscribed to listen to this because it's a extremely powerful podcast. But my conversation with you at the moment is just, where is your mindset? Because what's going to be really interesting to see is the choice that people are now going to be given as of whenever it is, July, whatever. Mask, no mask. Social distancing or no social distancing. And it's going to become very, very clear from how people go out into the space now as to whether they're still driven by the fear of what might be happening or whether they're more relaxed because of whatever their mindset is associated with their relationship with COVID, because that's what this is about. And this isn't even to do with whether you believe in the information you've been given, because the information has been so blurred. The truth is we don't know the frigging truth, do we? And that's the biggest challenge we've got. So I'm seeing people right now walking along the street outside, completely in the fresh air, no one around, and they've got masks on. I actually live in the country. I was driving on a country lane the other day, and there was a lady walking with a mask on. So that gives you a good indication of where their emotional relationship is with COVID and what they're being taught. They're fearful of, and again, somebody might say, oh, but you don't understand, Dr. Rowe, what about this and this and this? And yes, I accept that, but we're talking about a country lane where there's no one around. So there's so many extremes of this. You've got people that have been, literally like refusing to wear anything and just going out and completely trying to in direct contact with everybody. And there's those on the other extreme that won't go out and literally won't walk out of their house. I think, without going into detail, because we talk about this in the podcast, I think it's really important to address, and I mean this sincerely, have a conversation with yourself about what you believe about COVID and how it's going to affect you in the year to come, because we have got it anyway. It's with us. It is going to live in and around us for the rest of our lives, and that is just like flu or anything else. That's my personal belief. Pretty much, if you speak to anyone that's in the medical field, they're going to say something similar. Different strains, etc. Whether you've chosen to be vaccinated or not is obviously your choice. Again, my understanding is that there is no guarantee. If you go and read, it doesn't actually say it's going to protect you. It's just saying you can take the vaccine and maybe it'll help you. But the truth is that the likelihood is people that vaccinate now will continue to have to do so. So whatever happens, you're going to have to manage your emotional relationship with the experience of COVID, other people's relationship with COVID. Like I remember literally walking about 3 or 4 months ago on the street, and I was with a friend of mine. And this couple got quite upset because, they were like, oh my God, we're going to have to cross the... And we said, no, he was putting his baby in the car. And, so everyone reacts differently. What I want to say to you is, as you go out, depending on where your head sits, try not to allow that emotion to stir up, to create anxiety, because it's going to happen. We're going to see it. We're going to see people walking in, and somebody who's got a mask on and somebody who hasn't got a mask on, who's more relaxed, will be standing there going, yeah, they're talking to a mate. And then somebody with a mask on might be just in the shop going, and we've witnessed this for the last year, stepping back, getting a bit panicky, getting a bit flustered. Let me put my glasses on because I've gone out of focus again. And what I'm saying to people who are coming to me and saying, I'm getting stressed about this, is you don't have any control over that person's fear. You don't have any control over that person's mindset. You don't have any control over the decisions they make in their life. You might say, well, it's a family member You might want to give me a heads up if you agree with this, but all of us will try and have that conversation with our family members, but you can't really ultimately influence them. Some people in the family getting vaccinated, others aren't. Some people wear masks, others don't. Other people believe that you can literally catch it just walking out the other house. Others are like, well, no, it's a little bit more complicated than that. You can't change other people's views, but your fear is the thing that's going to be the dominant thing in all of this. And if you can learn to educate yourself on it, make choices, look after your health. One of the things we talk about on the podcast is what can you do to improve your immune system. We talked about this last year. I did interviews twice with two high-level specialists. You might remember the podcast we did with Dr. Robert McKirk. Things like your vitamin D, your C levels, your zinc levels, all these things. What can you do to increase your immunity? And also ask yourself the question, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of touching somebody that might have COVID, or are you afraid of actually getting it yourself? And if so, what would be the consequences of getting it? I have my own personal view. I've got a strong immune system, and if I get it and I have to ride it out and go through it, I will do. That's my personal view. Other people are just terrified of the idea of even getting it. I know several people that have got it just even in the last 6 months or so, even just recently. Actually, I spoke to somebody and they came through it and they were at the other end of it, and their experience of it was X, Y, and Z. It was like a very extreme flu, whereas other people have had unbelievably tragic circumstances. So that's the dilemma we've got on emotional levels. You've got to look at you as an individual and make those choices. But more importantly, think about how you're going to manage them. And I know it's a complex subject, and I'm not trying to generalize it. The other thing to be aware of is your children, and I know this with my kids, is whatever we have, and this is money, relationships, health, anything, but in this case, health and COVID, is whatever those fears are with us, and then if we're verbal about it, we can transfer those fears into our kids. And I'm also very mindful of how I want my kids to grow up into this future world where it's going to be knocking around. It's going to be around us for many, many years to come in one form or another. It was before. It's much more, this strain that's taken the aggressive path with us is the one everyone's aware of. But think about heavy states of flu. I remember when my stepfather got bronchitis years ago, and he was in bed for nearly a week, and it was really, really bad. And my mum was like, well, we'll look after him, we'll keep him healthy, whatever he took to antibiotics, I think it was. But all that older generation were like, oh yeah, so-and-so years ago, so-and-so went, we'll get through it. And that was the attitude. And same thing with heavy flus in the last 3 or 4 years. So when something new comes in and we experience it, there tends to be this reaction, and then we get used to it. It's like crossing the road, driving a car. There's that initial fear, and then we get used to it. So I think it's important to address this. And I know it's not a very specific, this is how to do it type message I'm giving. The message is really ask yourself a genuine question. What are you afraid of? Because there's a lot of decisions to be made in this next month. And I think we're going to see some interesting situations arise. And that might lead to the government then changing the goalposts again for us. I don't know. But what I do know is we all have control of our emotions. And I don't think, personally, I've said to my kids, these are what mummy and daddy believes. And whilst they're at that age, they're going to have those beliefs. But ultimately, they can have their own beliefs when they get older. But I think if you're out and about, ask yourself, here's an important question, for example. If you're a grandparent or you have grandparents, I've got friends that, and for a long time, I didn't see my mum for over a year. My mum had heart failure, she had kidney failure. She went in for some surgery. She was extremely vulnerable. And so we didn't physically see her by her choice, not so much ours. And an interesting thing is I'm still talking to people now whose parents are so terrified they haven't seen their grandchildren because they hadn't seen the grandchildren for like 6 months before. And now you add another year on top of that, year and a half, nearly a year and a half to 2 years. And I said to this friend of mine the other day, what's more important to your parents right now? Is it to have the possibility of meeting their grandchildren, or is it maybe never seeing them again if something happens? Because he said, my mum's really ill at the moment. And these are really moral discussions, aren't they? It's like, okay, now what's more important? Is it more important to just have that connection, even if it's socially distanced, or I don't want to open the door to anybody because I don't want to take the risk? So I'm not giving any answers here. I'm just saying, I'm kind of sounding off actually, because it's an interesting conversation. Even within our family, there's a lot of diversity in thoughts. So if you're facing these dilemmas right now and you're experiencing it, all I would say is you're not alone, and know that. Do listen to the podcast. I think it will help you. And I think just be selective about what you listen to. and don't take everything on face value. That's one thing I've learned to do this last year. And it's interesting how many things we were told at the beginning, and they've completely reversed those announcements. Other things we've heard, oh no, well, we didn't really say that. What we meant was this. So I think just be careful about how you filter that information, and then choose your decisions based on how you feel your body and your health is and the people around you. I think that's probably all I can say at this stage. Apologies if I didn't give you a lot of answers. Give me a thumbs up if it helped. But the management of fear is definitely, it's more about your relationship with what you believe about what could happen to you or what they're saying around you. I think what I'm afraid of is that people will not go live their lives, and that there's so many amazing things they can still experience. And think about our kids. Those who've got kids right now, a year or two, if you've got an 8-year-old and you've suddenly had 2 years of doing nothing, that's a quarter of their life so far has been suppressed. So what can you do with them that makes you feel comfortable enough to do it and still get experiences that they may not have had before, so that we create those magic moments for our kids? Because I think it's so difficult to do that if you're just living in fear. I will do it, and all of a sudden a year goes by, a year and a half. I know for us, we're doing that as much as we can, giving them those opportunities to get out. I want them to have memories. Otherwise, there'll be these dark spots in their memories. Oh, that was the COVID years. Fucking hell, really? Yeah. Okay. Remember, smoking doesn't kill you, does it? That's what they used to tell us. But that's another conversation. All right. Dr. O signing out. I will speak to you all soon.